Is it that has you so angry? Is it the attackers?
It's the attackers, but it's also the attacks. It's like, you know, at first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth. Mm-hmm. Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth. And then it became a thing of like, oh, it's not necessarily that you don't believe that this is the truth. You don't even want to see the truth.
What happened?
This is where it all started, man. This is where it all started. Wow.
Hello and welcome to another live episode. I'm Macho That Savory, and you're watching us on Drinks with a Nobody on Nobody TV. And today we have a beautiful, wonderful, locked and loaded episode when we're covering the case of Jussie Smollett. In fact, we want to take a different look or a spin or our look on this Jussie Smollett case. What do you got, Savory?
Yeah, man. This, I got thoughts about this, man. This was comedy for me in the beginning. This is straight comedy because I'm like, I remember, Trump being president, this whole thing being front page, and many people on both sides weren't really buying it. Right? It wasn't even a left-right for some reason. It was like people were quiet about it who didn't want to admit, but a lot of people saw something really, really, really odd about this thing. So in my mind, I'm like, this is just odd. And right there, that was his first interview, right? So people can know that we just played that he initially just said, no, it was the truth, right? And a lot of evidence has come out that, hey, we let you decide, but yeah, what you're saying, it didn't really go down like that, right? From camera footage to, the actual, detail of the timeline, which we'll probably get briefly into it. But yeah, this is going to be interesting, man. I think we should go into our first segment.
What if we continue playing that interview? Just out of
go ahead. Why not? To give a little more context. That's a good idea. Yeah, let's do it.
Happened that night, Jussie?
When I landed in Chicago, and Frank Gatson, who's like my uncle, and he's also my creative director, and he picked me up. And then we got to the apartment. There was no food, and And so I went out to Walgreens thinking that they were 24 hours and to have a smoke. Walgreens was closed. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'm gonna run to Subway, which was across the street, and I'm gonna get a salad. Do you want anything? I went to the Subway and got the order. During that time, I texted my manager thinking that he was still in.
So
this is at
he's
2
laying out
a.m.
the details.
This
2
is at
a.m.
2
He's
a.m.
laying out the details.
in Chicago.
And, yeah, in Chicago out of all places. Not down
Yeah.
south. Not, Chicago Trump
Chi-town,
supporters in the
Chirac.
middle, man.
They call it
That's a red-
Chirac in the hood.
That's red flag number 1. But yeah, go ahead.
Australia, because he was on an Australian tour with one of his other clients. And I said, yo, call me when you can. He called me immediately. And while he was on the phone, I heard, as I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire. I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire.
His name ain't Empire.
Yeah. First of all, MAGA supporters, if it's a white, how they like to describe them, white hill, but they don't even know what Empire is, likely. They this a lot of
not
those
even
people are
watching that show.
Not watching. I know you got a pretty good show with that. You're one of the stars there, but come on, man. You think anyways, it's a lot of red flags here. That's red flag number 2, I would say. Empire. Yeah, let's keep going through these red flags.
And I didn't answer. I kept walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, did you just say to me? And I see.
This is where it gets funny to me. I'm sorry.
Mask. And he said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face.
He's lying. That's it. He's lying. That's it. It's over. That's it. It's over. You're lying. That's it. Yo, I'm sorry. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, come on, that's not. He's an actor, and it reminds me of a script. Right? Am I bugging?
Oh, yeah.
He's an actor, so that just reminds me of the perfect script for you.
Facts.
Really? MAGA, my country. That's a movie scene, brother. But I digress.
Hello, Julie. Yeah, we're definitely gonna cover the Epstein's wife's case tomorrow.
Yeah, we were thinking about doing it today, actually, but we're gonna do Jussie, and tomorrow, since we'll have more details on the case as well, we'll be covering that. Yeah.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Lock it in tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know where else to that again. At the time, Avery, you asked me, were you familiar with the case? I'm like, no, I didn't bat an eye at it because it didn't make any damn sense. Like, you running around the hood with bleach on you and a noose around your neck. Like, again, why is it? Why do they always use the freaking noose? Like, we understand what that means historically, but they always seem, with the NASCAR racer. He also used the freaking noose reference.
It's an emotional trigger that would rile people up, So when you have that, you use those things because you know what kind of reaction you're getting.
We got to get rid of you. We got to get rid of you because you know too much. You got to get out of here.
It reminds me of this. It reminds me of this. When you know how to get someone mad and emotionally stirred, and you bother them somehow, the news is that. All right. They show that, they talk about it, automatically reminds you of racism, lynching. Your mind goes there without really logically thinking through any of that.
You just triggered me. You just triggered me right now.
There you go. You see, it worked. It works, man.
So do we have a little bit of a synopsis here? Just
yeah.
Flash of what's going on.
Let's do
currently.
a quick synopsis
because right now
have some people catch up on it.
Yeah. Because right now he's facing some cases, right? He's facing lying to the police. He's perjury or something like that. I'm not sure.
Correct. But this is going to give you a good timeline. I'll pause it in between to give people a good idea of what's going on here. For understanding, this is an important part so you can keep up with the rest. We'll continue to do our best to keep it, but this is going to give you, I would say, a good overview.
Yeah, great.
So all charges against him have been dropped.
I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one.
Okay.
Yeah, not guilty on March 14. That was a few years ago. Lying to the police. That's the indictments.
16 count. Wow.
So let me pause this right quick. After reviewing all the facts and circumstances of the case, including Mr. Smollett's volunteer service in the community, All right, so this is the Cook County State Attorney. An agreement to forfeit his bond to the city of Chicago. We believe this outcome is just a disposition and appropriate resolution to the case. So they're basically running you down to how they're dropping the charges.
Yeah.
All right, so he claimed he was attacked by two masked men shouting homophobic, racist remarks.
Saying this is MAGA country, Nick.
MAGA. So this is what he was being charged for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Filing a false police report, right? Not everyone agrees with the decision to drop the charges, so this is what someone said.
Unbelievable.
Chicago mayor.
Justice. This is a person now who's been let off scot-free with no sense of accountability of the moral and ethical wrong of his actions. Is there no decency in this man?
All right.
You know, I call it black privilege. You know, you call it what you want, man. Everybody got their opinions. My opinion is it sounds like black privilege. I don't know what that
sounds like
sounds
it to me. It sounds like it to me, bro. Like
Sounds-
again, I don't understand how we got here. You know what I'm saying? Like, how in the world? What was the aim in all of this? Why? What was it? Because you want attention? Was it why throw MAGA into it? You know, again, this sounds so coincidental.
Well-
Again, we have a timeline that we're gonna go through in the later part of this the show. But right now, we want to talk about the Mind Your Business segment, right?
Yeah, and before that transition, we'll transition right now. Is you ask a good question right here, Macho? Why, right? And I remember the politicization when Trump was in office, right? That you almost got points for standing up against him, even though that wasn't brave. That's the easiest thing to do because the whole mob was behind you. But some reason Hollywood gave you points because you were standing against the dictatorship, homophobic, and white supremacy. Remember all that? That happened for years.
Yeah.
So that happened in the heels of that. So he knew that was going to be automatic clout. It's hard for people to believe it because it's kind of crazy, but I believe that's orchestrated strategically because of that. You know, it's crazy that people will go this far. But hey, yeah, man, let's do this transition, man.
It has to be something drastic. So
Facts.
And in this segment, we got Charlemagne the God, and he had some of his own criticism on Jussie Smollett soon after this all made public and was like generating an insane amount of media attention. And here's what he had to say, Savory.
Breakfast Club, bitches.
Now, I've been called a lot in my 23 years, but Donkey of the Day is a new one.
Yes, Donkey of the Day for Thursday, February 21st. Goes to Jussie Smollett, a.k.a. Jamal Lion from Empire, but now forever known as Jussie Lion. See, Jamal Lion is a character.
So he's giving him the Donkey of the Day, calling him Jussie Lion. And there's a play on words because his character name in Empire is called Jamal Lion.
Yeah.
But he's saying no, but not to be confused with that character. We're making a play on that words. I'll let him explain right here.
Jussie Smollett is the real person, and over the past couple of weeks, a storyline that sounds like something only Lee Daniels could create found its way into Jussie Smollett's real life, and because of that, he is forever known as Jussie Lion, okay? Not because on Empire his last name is Lion, but simply because we have found out Jussie be Lion, okay?
And that's it. Jussie be Lion, right? He allegedly we'll go through the timeline of how we can speculate because we don't know the truth, right? Say, do you know the truth? I don't know the truth.
Yeah, we don't have a full trial yet, but the evidence and what's coming out, what we can agree on, there's some suspicion around it. You know, you want to let Charlemagne play a little more. I know he goes to some details. I think he does a quick summary, which is I think pretty good. Yeah.
Now, full disclosure, when I first heard about this situation, I'm talking first day when everyone was posting pics of Jussie, sending him up prayers. I mean, it was people that were ready to fly to Chicago to go to war for Jussie Lion. I was watching all of this, and I heard the now infamous story of him
keeps calling him Jussie Lion.
And those freezing Chicago streets, and two men throwing bleach on him, calling him a empire, gay slur, N-word, throwing bleach on him, and then throwing a rope around his neck.
Bleach and rope around his neck.
From the beginning,
Bleach
I
and
never
rope, and
believed
calling
his
him the
story. From the
N-word.
beginning,
It's
his
the perfect
story
storm.
sounded unbelievable, very sketchy, but I didn't feel the need to call BS on his situation because of my feelings. My intuition could be wrong. My instincts could be off. And
So he didn't want to. So apparently, Charlemagne said that I had some initial feelings about this that this didn't add up.
Yeah.
This didn't
And
add
again,
up,
that goes
though,
to
you know?
my point, Macho. A lot of people, I think, felt like that on left and right. He just proved the point. A lot of people did feel like that, but again, some people were hesitant, and the super warriors on the left just stood up and went to their conclusion. But many kind of stood back and said, "Man, this looks like the plot of a movie. Like it works out perfectly. Like you're in that situation, you become the hero." They almost got you. They could have killed you. It proves the narrative that Trump is racist. It was like the perfect storm, man. So that's why I think a lot of people were just really skeptical.
Y'all know what time it is. Let's get y'all vote.
Yes,
Should
sir.
Charlemagne the God mind his business or not? What do you vote, Savory?
Man, come on. I think I'm gonna vote right here. I agree with Charlemagne the God, and I actually liked how he approached this. Right? He approached it in a way where he didn't off the bat speak about it right away. I have a lot of respect for people that do that because I think that's admirable. And now, look, I don't like all his donkeys of the days. I think, he's playing into the left narrative a lot of times. But on this situation, I'm with him, not only because I agree with him, but because he smelled the BS from the beginning. So Charlemagne the God, I'm a vote that's good. You didn't mind your business here. You shared how you felt in the beginning, and then you shared the details on how you felt. But again, I'm not with him 90% of the time, but I think here, pretty fair, partly because I do agree with him. So yeah.
This is probably the rare case that I will vote for Charlemagne not to mind his damn business.
Man. Yeah.
This is very rare. And again, it was pretty damn obvious. You cannot play to this narrative because you don't want to be that group. You don't want to be known as that group that will generate stories and go and trip behind it. Like, yeah, we're going to fight systemic racism to the point where we even will generate stories like this. No, this invalidates real issues of prejudice in our country. So we cannot fight prejudice with fake drawn up stories. So yes, this is probably one of the rare cases that I would vote Charlemagne. Don't mind your business. Keep talking.
Yeah, good job. Good job calling it out. And it's something refreshing when you're on one side of the aisle, but at least look, you have the decency to call some of these things out. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I think there's something big to
that's
say
where
about that.
there's going to be a common theme with Savory and I as we progress further and further. Human decency. That is extremely important. Where is it? Is it gone? Has it left society? I think Savory and I are the proof that it's not. So, yeah.
Love it. Yeah, we got this. I think we're ready for this next segment, which we didn't really officially transition to, right?
Which one? Nobody versus the expert? What are you talking about? We're ready. We're ready here.
Yeah, but let's give him that because now we're about to compare CNN, Fox News. I want people to know we're doing comparisons now. We're showing both sides, right? You got some CNN. I got some Fox News. I want people to look at Nobody versus the experts through that lens right now. Right?
Yeah, we are locked and loaded, Savory.
I'm always vibing. I wanted people to see me vibing. All right, so this is how Fox News covered it. You know where Fox News stands, hands up. We know how they covered it. After this, we're going to show you how the other side covered it.
Hands up, don't shoot. Justice, no peace.
Hands up, no shoot. We know how both of these networks stand. But check this out. This is pretty interesting because this is where some of the people who jumped on protecting him right away, like Charlemagne the God was saying, this is the kind of conclusions they came to.
Make or break the case, attorney Mark can never say his name. Did I nail it? Told Fox News, quote, he's an actor, so he has an advantage over almost anyone who is going to take the witness stand. And that is the best review he's ever gotten about his acting. But let's not forget his Democrat supporters, including our VP, who tweeted in
Man, low key roasted him.
He did.
2019, Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I.
So this is one of the tweets that came out
here it is.
automatically in 2019. Look at this.
The great
Got his
Kamala
back.
Harris.
Is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know. I'm praying for his quick recovery. It was an attempt of modern day lynching. You see how they go straight to that as politicians? You see how politicians abuse, right? And stay tuned for the Sip on Facts. We got some interesting stuff to share on lynching and slavery. But look how politicians,
Harris?
Look who only jumps to this so fast. It's only politicians. You wonder why our distrust of government is because they use these kind of situations to stir up people emotionally. This was an attempted modern day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. That reminds you of what? That's politics.
Double whammy right there.
You have your perfect storm for a politician to run on right now. We must confront this hate. Now she looks like the hero.
I know. I'm praying for his quick recovery. This was attempted modern day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this hate. So we're just going to leave that tweet there to remind you how stupid she really is. I think we've.
But you get called that when you jump to conclusions without listening, learning, and actually being patient. That's what happens. I don't like whether you on the right or left. The left just does this more. It's just a reality. When the right doesn't come to conclusions, it's the same thing. I'm gonna say, just relax. Stop coming to conclusions before you know any facts. Especially, I'll say it again, especially in a criminal case.
If anything, President Obama could take back was his criticism or critical thoughts that he actually conveyed to the public about the Trayvon Martin case. I think if anything he wished he could take back, Savory, it was that. What if that was my son? Oh, my son has to be worried. I mean, this catapulted a whole narrative, a whole spin. And I promise you, I'm sure he's probably up late at night. I have to live up to this now. This has to always be the freaking conversation. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure he wishes he could take that back. Yeah. You see, you get caught up in playing the political card.
That was the rare moments in 20. It was around 2014. You know, there was during like in the midst of his second term, I think it was, right?
Yeah,
and that was one of the rare occasions that we see Obama's emotions got the best of his linguistics, because usually he's on top of his language, bro.
Yeah, he's on top of it. Yeah. But you know, I would even say this. Obama, before this next clip here, I would even say this. Obama knew exactly what he was doing, so it's not even that his emotions took over. He just thought that was the politically wise thing to do.
Wow. So
he's that sharp.
You're that cynical of him. You're that cynical that...
Yeah, I just believe he's that sharp politically.
But he didn't bring up race before that.
Yeah, but remember, his second term, I tell people, Obama's second term became more politicized when it came to how he views the economy, taxes, healthcare, race relations. He was low key. He wanted to get reelected. First term, you don't see a lot of his extremists. But when Obamacare came in and all that, was all second term. So I just believe he knew it wasn't, it's his last term. He's speaking boldly. He's riling up. So he had a little more confidence in his talk. So he was okay slipping up. So he knew it was his last term. It's not that it was a slip up, but he knew it would stir some things up. But he took a political risk there, I feel.
So you're saying that, just real quick, and then we'll move on. So you're saying, I see your cynical spin, and in a way, I agree with your cynicism. So you're saying because of him being in his second term, he was more loose with his personal ideology now. Whereas he was seen as a more moderate Democrat in his first term. He literally exploded to the far left in his second term.
In some aspects, right? I won't say everything, but I don't believe he's to that extreme, but who knows with Obama? He's such a great speaker, but he has some extreme ideas, Yeah. Felicia said politicians keep the division. Exactly. That's why they use tweets like that. They use hurt. They use trauma that we have in our community, and they just pitch it right back to us and become saviors,
That's a fact.
What else we got here, brother?
All right. So on the other end here, on the left, I have to refrain from saying the far left, but sometimes CNN, I'm just like, yo, you guys are way too far.
Yeah.
But on the other end here, we have Chris Cuomo and
so we just played Fox News, correct? Now we're playing some CNN, and now we're seeing how both sides cover the Jussie Smollett case. Let's go.
And
Love it.
and in this video clip, they're giving him advice after his arrest.
Oh, word. It don't get no better than that when we talk about left and right. All right, let's go.
Lemon right now.
How you feeling?
Better than I deserve.
You feel better today?
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I had to come in for this. This mattered.
Yeah, it did matter. And, you know, you were talking about...
All right, pause. Pause. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Here we go. All right. Here we go. I know you put Don.
You need to share the story how you sat next to Don and you like posed
Yeah, I
as a
saw
Hillary
him.
supporter.
Yeah, I'll be quick with this. I saw Don on the A train. And I'm sitting down. I'm wearing my headphones. I'm actually about to go on a date, I think, with my now wife. And I'm sitting there. He sits down. And I look across and I'm like, and I peek at him like 2-3 times. I look up and I'm kind of like giving him that nod. Like, you know, when you think you know somebody, you're like, and then I said, Don Lemon? And he was like, yes. So I posed as the ultimate Hillary supporter. I literally was, I was like, wow, man, crazy what's happening in our country. I think that was my opener. That was literally my opener. Crazy what's happening in this country. And then I was like, oh, you're around? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm in Harlem. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I had no idea he was in Harlem. I'm like, wow, yeah, that's where he has a place there. I'm like, oh wow, interesting. Anyways, we start talking, and he starts telling me a whole bunch of things about what he thinks about politics. And my last question to him before I left, like, Don, let me ask you a question. Do you think Trump will get reelected? The most surprising answer I received from him. He said, I certainly do. It's going to be hard to get him out. I'm like, what? Like, literally, I'm like, unfortunately, me too, I said, and then I left.
What a troll.
All right, anyways, yeah, I thought. Oh, man. Anyway, but I wanted you to pause that before you play it, because you see what they're doing here? They're emotionally connecting. Yo, Macho, it's like somebody died in the family. Yo, you okay, brother? Can I get you some water?
Apparently Cuomo was sick, and he
like,
had to come in for this. He had to come in for this.
He had to come in. All right, let's keep playing this. All right, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris.
I don't know how his lawyers read that and were okay putting out the statement that he had to put out. I don't know where they get off saying that the police are doing some disservice to Smollett. Unless this is the biggest fabrication, not just in Chicago, but in the nation's history of policing, this guy's got big problems.
Look how drastic that is in the nation's history of policing.
Wow.
Dude, there's a lot more blunders that we can find, brother. Like, come on, stop.
So again, we just played the Fox. So those of y'all who missed it, we played the Fox. Now we're seeing the polar opposite, which is why it's important to look at both sides, because this should have you thinking what really happened. They're looking at they're making this man seem like a hero off the bat, which is crazy. Keep playing a few more so we can.
Chicago police.
Okay, look at this.
The department has a long history of doing some things right, but a lot of things wrong. This case is so high profile. There appears to be from this so much evidence that it's hard to see how this would indeed be a setup. And I'm going to explain why.
Oh, again, I'm curious, baby.
Oh, yeah. All right, pause that. Everybody, brace yourself. He's about to explain without no evidence. The video wasn't probably even out yet. Jussie Smollett probably didn't do his interview yet, but right here, it goes to show you can go into one side of the aisle and explaining why he is a hero, not a victim. You didn't say, let's wait. You didn't say, this is my opinion. You just say, I highly doubt
he got papers.
That he was lying.
Yeah, he got papers. He's showing. Those could be show notes for all we know.
Yeah, we have to pause that. Plus, it's CNN. We got to keep pausing it anyways. CNN comes at us for copyrights faster than any other network. Yeah.
Justice system, a legal system in our country. But when you look at this, it just floors you.
Look, I mean, if you just start with the basic idea of two Nigerian brothers putting on MAGA hats and beating the guy up, that was always a little far-fetched.
Well, it wasn't MAGA hats. said MAGA hats. He
Right,
said
but that
MAGA.
was the implication, right? In today's MAGA country.
Well, white guys.
So two Nigerian brothers. What do we got here? What do we got here, Xavier? Let me rewind this back here.
Oh man, so they knew that at that
He said
time.
MAGA hats. He
Right,
said
but that was
MAGA country.
that was the implication,
Right.
right? And they said MAGA country.
Well, white guys.
You know, so look.
What?
unless-
What? I don't even know what they're saying at this
I can't
point.
even
What?
qualify. To be honest, look, if I wind up being wrong on this, I'm wrong. But I've never read a more damning proffer on something than this is. So, look, if he made it up, he's going to have to justify it. DL had good advice for him. You know, if you screwed up and did this, own it. You want to say why you did it this way? Do that. But you're not helping the cause. I'll tell you that right now. There's a lot of truth that's going to get covered up by one untruth.
All right, that's that's a twist. At least you want to make sure you're balancing something out. Don Lemon probably is not going to fold here. Let me see how he ends this because 20 seconds left. I want to see this man's response right now.
I'm curious.
I'm similar to DL. I say if it is true, confess, throw yourself on the mercy of the court and of the people, and then see where that leads you. Thank you, Chris. Feel better, my friend.
Listen, I want to hear your opening.
Okay, I'm going to do.
So if it is true, but you're saying you have damning evidence. You said based on what you got there, you got damning evidence. Which one is it?
Yes. What they really believe is that it has damning evidence, but they're protecting themselves because they know they'll look crazy. So at the end, you know how they finish the show? But if he did, I'm just going to advise him to hand himself to the police. But you didn't put that as an option throughout your whole segment. You just threw it in at the end to make it seem like you're looking at both sides. Like, you're not looking at both sides. Okay. Fox wasn't looking at the other side either because they were convinced that it was a hoax. You're convinced that he's a hero. It's okay. But just don't pretend to play both cards. That's the thing about Fox. They don't pretend to play the other side. They're just telling you, yo, he's lying. You see what TNN does there? They play their cards, and then at the end they say, hey, but if we're wrong, we're likely not wrong. But if we're wrong, it is what it is. Yeah, so...
apparently in this timeline that was generated by ABC News, I sent you the clip there of this, that apparently two people were in persons of interest in this case as of, I think the police put it out there, a surveillance video of two persons of interest in the case on February 14th. And that they were interested in talking to two brothers.
I see it right here. Chicago police, they are speaking with two persons of interest in the case. Was these the Nigerian brothers that he hired?
I don't know if it was
Nigerian,
Nigerian,
am I not supposed
or
to say that?
black people. I don't know if it was white people. I'm confused now by this. So let's go through this timeline real quick. On February 19th, out of the abundance of caution, the decision to recuse herself was made to address potential questions of impartiality based on familiarity with potential witness in this case. This was
that's
attorney
February 19.
Yeah, attorney Kim Fox announces that she had to recuse herself from this.
Okay, February 20th.
Apparently obtained surveillance video of two Osundario brothers linked to the reported attack from a beauty supply shop. The video shows the brothers purchasing items possibly used in the case.
That was one of the breakthroughs. So they got the video footage of what was used, which is damning evidence that what's the chance of somebody buying a noose, bleach, and the items they need to lay this out. And then, what date you in right now? February 21st.
Look at this.
At
a press conference,
Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson says the actor initially faked a letter using racist and homophobic language. When that didn't get attention, Smollett paid two brothers $3,500 via personal check to stage the attack. Mind you, check this out. Pay attention to this. Prior to that, he faked the letter using racist and homophobic language. So he was looking for that attention of a person in racist America living a certain way. All right, what we got next?
Wow, that is pretty crazy.
This is crazy.
The personal check is evidence. So if those two brothers can actually provide the documentation, the banks, that means it's going to be subpoenaed in court, right?
But they're likely not going to testify though, because they're on his side, and
Correct.
So that's
going
to be interesting.
Police, let's see here. February, Empire Showrunner announced Smollett character Jamal will be written off the last two episodes, whatever. Grand jury, and March 8th. I'm looking here. It says here the grand jury returns separate set charges of each lie Smollett allegedly told. The first set are related to Smollett told officers about the alleged attack and called him a racial homophobic slur.
What day you on now?
I'm on March 8th.
So we on March 8th. Wow. This
This
is
continues
crazy.
to go on. This continues to go on. And then at some point here in the timeline, when the police
So
spoke to the two brothers.
Yep. I went down to March 28th, right? Because look at this. The Chicago police sends a letter to Smollett's attorney asking that the actor pay $130,000 to offset the cost of investigation after he reported being attacked. Instead, now the Chicago, after the tons of manpower, which is why he's being sued as well, because it's a lot of manpower and people on the job, and it's a false lead, right? You led them purposely, and this is a lot of manpower and a lot of hours of work. Response to the city's threat to file a suit, saying if the city sues, he will depose Mayor Emanuel and Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson will demand the entire investigation file. Does he mean that? Do you want that really? I don't know.
Yeah. June 25th, 2019.
Right,
police body
June
cam
25th?
video. Police
ahead.
video shows officers arriving at Smollett's apartment in Streetville after going with his manager up to his apartment. They are greeted by the star with a rope coiled several times around his neck, claiming that two attackers doused him with bleach and put the noose around his neck. So he was still wearing the freaking noose around his neck when they got to his
Really?
apartment. Yeah.
Because this is so all right. This is just this is a perfect movie scene. November 20th, 2019, attorneys for Smollett filed counterclaim against Chicago. The lawsuit seeking reimbursement used to investigate the actor's case. So again, this is part of the lawsuit. February 11th, Cook County grand jury returned 6-count indictment against Smollett, charging him with making 4 separate false reports to Chicago police related to his false claims that he was the victim of a hate crime, knowing he was not the victim of a hate crime. So that's the heart of it right there as well.
Here's what we missed. February 17th, 2019. Soon after this was alleged, two brothers
February
tell
17th.
police.
Where you see that?
February 17th at the top of the page, 2019.
Oh, 2019.
This is what I was looking for. I missed
Go ahead.
Two brothers tell police that Smollett paid them to orchestrate the attack. ABC News source report. A Chicago police spokesman released a statement saying, "We can confirm that the information received from the individuals questioned by the police earlier in the Empire case has in fact shifted the trajectory of the investigation. We have reached out to the Empire cast member's attorney to request a follow-up interview." So two brothers, they were telling them they paid us to do this. This was all a plan.
So they said that also to protect themselves, because now they're facing criminal charges. So they're like, all right, we got caught now. Let's say the truth, So that's what happens when investigations
and this
happen.
You have to be very careful because, again, now these guys are here. Oh, this is bigger than what it is. This is more than 35. This could cost me my freedom. Oh no, I'm singing like a canary.
Yeah.
They didn't think this
so
through.
that's a good rundown. So just at the end of this, we got February 24th. Smollett appears in court, pleading not guilty to all 6 counts. His bond is set at $20,000. The countersuit filed by Smollett against the city of Chicago. So he countersued and sued the city of Chicago is dismissed by a federal judge. The judge says Smollett's claim cannot move forward until the first lawsuit is handled. So, but he's ready to sue. The trial November 29th, and this we're at today where the trial is starting. So
and here's my whole thought process. You had ran down some interesting facts about Chicago and who's in leadership there at the time of this incident. So go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder, man. So this is what's interesting, and why. Let me give a overview of why I say this. Preface of why I say this, right? We don't try to focus on race. We try to focus on the reality of situations in communities. When you hear our podcast and what we do, we try to bring you the reality of what's happening. But look at this. This is in Chicago, right? Just some interesting stats here. The Chicago mayor is Black. Superintendent of police is Black. Top cops in police administration are Black. State Senate majority is Black. The Attorney General is Black. Chicago Treasurer is Black. Transit Authority president is Black. Police board president is Black. Why do I say this? That this is right here in a city, a stronghold, right? Of people would be complaining if people were, you can't use this card here in Chicago. People would be complaining about the system being against them if they were all white without no evidence. But now that they're all Black and the charges quickly got dismissed, they're coming back up because now the investigations are revealing different things. So the cops are doing their jobs. But if it wasn't for all these people, a lot of these people got his back. Off the bat, they said it. They dropped the charges without listening to the trial. Why did they do that? Because they didn't want a black person. This is my opinion here. They didn't want a black person at the front papers, front news. They just dropped it and wanted to move on with it. That's the sense of what I call black privilege. Yeah. Like it or not, that's my opinion. Because look at that. They dropped it because of he was at.
And yeah, again, what is the why? Why fake the letter initially? Why pay two guys to assault you? What are you after? What is going on here? Was it because the whole thing happened with you in Empire and you wanted to figure out a way to still cling on to a story? Was this politically motivated? Were political pundits are involved in this, paying for this to say, hey, let's get this to generate some bad publicity on then President Donald Trump? I don't know.
It
Why
has
say
to
MAGA
be. Let me also say this. You remember when former President Trump was in office?
Yeah.
The systemic racism issue was a big thing, and they were blaming the issues on Chicago on him. You remember that?
Yeah,
and
on the president.
When they were blaming, I'm like, how? If I just listed all, you know how many Republicans sit in the city council in Chicago?
How many?
Take a guess how many?
I would say 6.
0.
Oh my God.
And you blame Republicans for all these issues, and you blame the president. Why? You don't want to deal with the accountability of the list. Look at this. Republicans head count in the city council is 0. That's 0. William Hill Thompson was the last Republican mayor in Chicago in 1931. Y'all hear that, people?
Oh my God.
So now you're still going to blame another party that's been separated from that city for 89 years? Has been controlled by Democrats.
So blame Republicans for Chirac. Blame Republicans
Come on, man.
for why poor people live in the hood in Chicago. Blame Republicans for why there's this massive divide. It's divided into 3 subgroups: Mexican, Black, and white. So you're gonna blame Republicans for all of that. You're gonna blame your president for all of that. What about Barack Obama, who was the state senator of Illinois? What did he do for Chicago? What is he currently doing for Chicago right
exactly.
now?
We have to take this personal responsibility, and this is, I think, a beautiful kind of like fleshing out of the reality, because we always get into these political. So we went from the case to explaining some of the city to going a little deeper into the politics. But take a look at what I'm saying. That a lot of these issues, I didn't care if it was Trump. This is not a defense for Trump. We're talking about Chicago, and talking about him in that lens is like, come on, man, it's got to be deeper than that. So yeah, I just wanted to share those interesting thoughts there. So that's good.
Thomas Sowell quote said this: racism is not dead, but it is on life support, kept alive by politicians, race hustlers, and people who get a sense of superiority by denouncing others as racist. Could this be applied or applicable to this case?
Oh man. Think about what I'm just saying. I'm looking at the breakdown of the city, and they're making this off the bat when you're using the term lynching. And especially if we'll see this in court, right? I like to be consistent. I like to see what comes out in court. But from what I'm gathering, personally, my personal opinion, it seems staged. I'm going to say it straight up. But now we'll see what the court reveals, right? I might be totally wrong. I don't think so, but who knows? But it seems staged. And now not only is it staged, but it's staged to push a narrative, like you said, the Thomas Sowell quote, to now take advantage of a racist narrative.
Facts.
I'm going off your quote, and I see that. So Thomas Sowell is 100% right there, man. Think about this. It's crazy.
All right, let's finish this. Let's finish this off.
All right, let's. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for our last segment, Macho, I'm excited about this, actually. You know, I got the article in front of me. I have to jump ahead, but yeah, it may be. But by the way, I'll do the disclaimer. You'll get into it. Disclaimer. We found an interesting source, an interesting article. We like to give this information. Disclaimer, this is not totally factual based on us not totally knowing, but it's thought-provoking, and this is the kind of information that should have us, me and Macho and yourself, dig deeper into these issues so you can have your own train of thought, man. But go ahead, Macho.
We did a brief look back at this author, right?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
His name is John Press, JOHNPRESS, who is a professor in South Korea, wrote an article in the American Renaissance in February 15, 2018. And it's entitled Myths About Slavery and Lynching. And there's like, Saber, how many citations? One, two, there's almost 20 citations in this
Which
article.
citations are things to bring credibility to what you have. So you're citing sources and all that, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like a random opinion-based article. So yeah.
But again, based on what I'm about to read, we didn't do the background check or the study on those what is it? Citation.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we
hit
didn't
the first paragraph. You want to hit the first paragraph and I'll end it with the second?
Yeah. So here's some sip-on facts here. According to John Press, lynching is another historical practice used to shame whites. Over the entire period of lynching, 72.7% of victims were black, while almost all the rest were white. The number of lynchings peaked in 1892 at 230. Of that number, 161 were black. This means that in 2016, in Chicago alone, more blacks were killed by other blacks than were lynched in any year throughout the entire United States. And there's a citation there.
Wow. And you had 2 citations there. In my paragraph, what I'm about to read, I have 2 other citations. And then you have a whole bunch of sources and citations at the bottom from, just so people can know, Newsweek, The Root. So it looks like you have a variety of sources, right? We have the New York, just so people can know. But anyways, black lynch mobs occasionally lynch blacks. And there is at least one recorded case of blacks lynching a white. In 1914, in Clarksdale, Tennessee, for raping a black woman. In 1872, in Chillicothe County, Arkansas, a black mob broke 3 white men out of jail and riddled them with bullets. It is also largely forgotten that the majority of lynchings were not random acts. Many victims, probably most, had committed the crime which they were accused. I believe a reawakening of pride in America and in whites is vital to our civilization's survival. This cannot happen if such things as slavery and lynching can be used to shame us. An accurate understanding of the past is an essential part of our reawakening. Wow. And then we just read the end of it. There's more to read about that. I'm going to take a look at some of the sources as well, because I'm actually very curious about this. I'm going to do a little, deeper search. But again, why do I love this? Not because it's totally factual, but it gives us a different perspective for us to research and learn more.
Exactly.
So that's just beautiful about it.
Look into it. There's converse opinions. There's multiple sides to a story. So we want to leave you guys with that. We want to give a rundown here on where you guys can follow us. You can follow us on Twitch at MachoFix88 and at Savory_edition. You could also follow us on Twitter. We got our same handles there. You could also follow us on TikTok. And we're building up our Instagram. So go ahead and follow us at Drinks with a Nobody on our Instagram. And we have a Discord so we can continue the conversation there. And if you want to send links, if you want to share ideas, if you want to share even criticism about our podcast, do it right there. Share it with us there, or even comment on our YouTube page. Please share our YouTube page. We're building and we want to centralize our YouTube content. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Click that notification bell. Share this with your friends. It don't matter if they have to have the same opinions. At Drinks with a Nobody, we want to rally around a drink. We want to sit down and have a conversation in a sober-minded fashion, not necessarily about debates, but having a conversation about some of the things we bring to the forefront, centralize about the topics that we bring to the forefront. So, yeah, that's what we want to do here at Drinks with a Nobody.
Ladies and gentlemen, also hit that like button. Show us some love with that like button, so we can also help us with the algorithm. That like button is important. So we appreciate everybody still in here. Let me answer this last few. Anybody here? Look forward to seeing you on TikTok tomorrow, Savory, maybe with the same background.
Yes.
You want the heat. You want the heat, Felicia. Well, thank you for joining us. Appreciate the support.
Appreciate you.
You guys are the best. We appreciate you. Take care, guys.